Welcome in, Hawks fans. Your boy Rice Lewis back at it again for another Believe in Hawks episode. The first game of the Summer League for the Atlanta Hawks has concluded. And so I'll give you a full breakdown of my thoughts on the rookies tonight, pressing in some spots. But obviously, once again, it is the Summer League, so there was some sloppy play also as well. So definitely going to give my thoughts on that. Plus other Hawks news going on right now. Before we get to that, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Bricey_2K so you can catch it from my Hawks takes over there. Listen, before we started, I need to ask y'all something. I came up with a name for Risacher. You know how every player gets like a name or some type of, I guess, a fandom name, right? So I came up with something on the fly. I just said, I said in a tweet, I said, where are my Risha, what is it? It's Risha Elites. Yeah, where are my Risha Elites? Listen, I don't know how y'all feel about it. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. Risha Elites. That's what I went with tonight. Maybe we can get the name going if y'all really like it out there. If you do, comment down below. So yeah. So, I just want to have a little fun with it today because, everybody comes up with a name. If you were a Falcons fan last year, obviously we know about the Ritter Raddies and the Desbians. So, you always got to find those new names for players that you, I guess, want to get some fandom behind, I guess. But anyway, getting off topic. Let's get into Summer League play. Hawks tonight lose in the Summer League opener to the Washington Wizards, 94-88 in a game where Risacher, the first overall draft pick in this year's NBA draft, debuted in this game, and he kind of showed you what you needed to see from him in game one tonight. Finished the game with 18 points in his debut, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 43% from the field, hit 3 threes in the game as well. So let's start with Risacher first in this situation. I like Risacher. I mean, one thing about him is that he doesn't do anything elite. He won't blow you away. He won't do anything that just makes you be like, wow. But one thing about Risacher is that he plays the game very steady. You can tell it's not a lot of wasted motion. You can also tell that it's just a very steady type of way that he plays. Like I said, there's no explosiveness to his game, but you can see that he's played in a pro league. One thing we underrate with pro leagues for these guys, especially coming from overseas, is when you're playing in a pro league, you're kind of learning how to play basketball at a mature level. Like I said, one of the big criticisms you hear in America's game at our high school level, AAU level, and even college level is that it's kind of stagnant. It's a lot more athleticism. It's a lot more just it's not a mature game. It's using your athletes are better than my athletes, or my athletes are better than your athletes, and I just put my athletes in position to show that. Where I think in obviously overseas leagues or the French Pro League like he was in, obviously you're playing more, you're learning how to cut, which you saw tonight, really good on his cuts. You could see the fact that he was able to create separation at times with the step back dribble for threes a couple of times, even some that he missed, got good looks. That's what you want to see. And obviously, you always try to project what you're seeing tonight in an actual NBA game. You're going to be playing with Trae Young. Obviously, tonight, Kobe Buffkin did not play and won't play in the Summer League because of an injury. So, he didn't have the most natural point guard playing tonight with him. And so, that's something that you can maybe say, okay, if this is what he's doing right now with what he has, obviously, yes, when he's playing on the main roster, he'll play against NBA players, stars, things of that nature. But you have an elite passer like Trae Young there to help get you some easy looks and help, just you get into a rhythm offensively, especially from the 3-point line. So that's something that you really can look at with Risacher for sure. And so with that mature game, you can see, like I said, with the way he cuts, the way he helps on defense, he is very eager to help on defense. Now, one issue that could come from that, and you saw it a little bit tonight if you did watch the Summer League game, is that he will overhelp at times because he's eager to help. Because the thing about Risacher, and it makes sense, Risacher is like 6'8", 6'9". He could help on the boards, which you saw tonight. He had a lot of tip rebounds tonight. He's a guy who can also defend, like I said, multiple positions. A guy who, like I said, who with long arms can, get in there, be a really good help defender. And I think the big thing for him in that area is just learning how to know when to help, when to be aggressive with help defense, and when not to. I think one thing they have to look at is that, obviously he did it in France, but obviously in France, it's a little bit different. The athletes are different. In the NBA, they always say you give guys just the teeniest bit of space and they'll take it. Steph Curry is one of the greatest examples of that. How people just say if you give Curry any breathing room, he will take that shot and will knock it down like it's an open shot. Obviously in the French Pro League, maybe there aren't the same players like that over there. So he was able to get away with that more. In the NBA, I'm sure Quinn and them are going to talk to him about that and just say, hey, stay on your guy unless it's like, or if you're going to cheat quick, get back. Do not stay on it. Get back to your guy. So that way we're not giving up open shots. Because you saw the Wizards be able to get some open shots, especially when the Hawks at times in the summer league play a little sloppy. So obviously that's something to look at there with Risacher. But overall, like I said, Risacher did, like I said, was able to create some separation with the shot, looked really good. Even the shots he was missing looked good. And I think that's one thing when you evaluate a summer league guy, especially a high draft pick. Sometimes we like to look at the stat line and say that is going to be representative of what I think I saw tonight, which he had 18 points. So from that perspective, okay, that's a pretty good debut for a first overall pick. But sometimes it's the type of shots you're taking. Are you moving? Are you moving? Without thinking? Are you seeing a guy who seems like, yeah, I can see this way he's playing and adapt it to where when he's playing with the actual Atlanta Hawks, this could be really effective. There's a reason why they feel like this type of game, a guy who really doesn't need the ball, isn't ball dominant, can work with a guy like Trey and a guy like Jalen Johnson because they can kind of control the ball more. And then Risacher can just, like I said, cut, get open, get off screens, and that's where he can be effective. But you also saw at times there was a pass he had to Muhammad Gueye in the corner where he can also create a little bit. And that's something I think the Hawks front office has been also wanting to get into the room is guys who, hey, can you play make a little bit? Can you read defense a little bit? Are you willing to make the extra pass? Obviously it's a summer league, so some guys are going to show off a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive, try to make a highlight play. Obviously, like I said, you're trying to make an impression on the guys, not just only Landry Fields and Quinn, but you're also other GMs, especially for the guys who are on the bubble or maybe not projected to make the roster. You're trying to show, hey, I can bring this to the table. And so overall tonight, I think Risacher really did some good things. Like I said, I think one example of what I mean by he's not explosive, if you've seen the play when he went coast to coast off, you could see there was no explosiveness there. But like I said, it was just a smoothness to his game. He kept it, no wasted motion, and got to the rim. So I think that's going to be something for him that I think will continue to develop. Obviously, you saw some of the things he struggled with. Obviously, you could tell. Skinny kid, got to grow into his body. He will have some issues at the next level when he's going against bigger players off screens and defending, because some guys are just like, I could overpower you. And so that's just something that you're going to have to, he's going to have to grow through. He's going to have to use his length early in his career to kind of help him in those situations because he just doesn't have the strength as of now. And we have to remember, he's a 19-year-old kid. He's still learning. He's still growing. So there's no reason to look at that and think that's a bad thing. Obviously, I'm sure some people would like him to make a little bit more shots. That will come. That's just going to come with consistency, getting in the gym, getting up a lot of shots. He's a really good shooter. That's something we can tell right off. He has a really good release, really good stroke. No homo. And so, all those things. So I think that is really what we're going to, continue to see. Obviously, he has a game now where he can look at, and I'm sure the coaches will look at, okay, what did you do well? What can you improve? How can we get you, where we want you to go? Because every game for him in this summer league is just ability to get more reps, get the ability to play within the offense, develop good habits, and learn and have some film before going in the training camp where he can say, okay, we can kind of have a better idea now playing against a little bit different competition than the French leagues of where he is in his development as of right now. But overall, I think Risacher has a really good chance to be a good player in this league. And I know a lot of people were looking at tonight's game, especially because we were going against Alex Sarr and the Washington Wizards. Oh, this was a game for him to show that he was the right choice. And I think a lot of Hawks fans feel like, all right, I feel better about this pick. Because, Sarr had moments tonight, block shots. That was the big thing for him defensively. But, offensively, you saw some of the work that needs to be done. And like I said, all these players have something that needs to improve. And that's part of it. Like I said, Risacher knows a lot of his size and experience and strength. That's going to be big for him to make sure he improves that. And over-helping at times and things of that nature. But he can help you in rebounding. He can help you in help defense. He can help you defensively just in general. He can help you in shooting. He can even play make a little bit. And I think those are things you can build off of. The Hawks can look at and say, we can develop this, we can improve this, we can coach this. And when you have that, that's what makes him, I think, a very valuable player to Landry Fields in the front office in that situation. So really good, I think, really good debut for Risacher tonight. I'm excited to see how he comes out Sunday in game 2 of the summer league, and as he continues his growth, and seeing if we can get something, if we get something similar tonight. Does he have a worse game? Does he have a better game? And continuing to see where he goes from there. I also want to talk about, again, I don't know how to say his last name, so Nikola. We'll talk about Nikola. Obviously, with Kobe Buffkin going down, they had to, find a point guard. They allowed Nikola to play point guard tonight. Nikola obviously had a highlight play early in the game with a dunk on Sarr in between 2 Wizards defenders, and Sarr was one of them. Really aggressive guy. You could tell that immediately with him. Very, very aggressive. He's a guy who you can tell when you watch him, just a really raw player. I when I look at him, I think he's a guy who you see good things, you see flashes. That's why people liked him. One thing about Hawks is, if you notice, especially these last 2 draft classes, even with players in the second round, they get players who have skills that you can look at and say, that could translate. Like that's a good skill. Like I could see something here with you. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're getting that with Nikola, and that's what you saw tonight. And obviously, this is also getting him reps at playing the point guard position. That's something that, we don't know if they've ever viewed him as a point guard, but they said, hey, let's let you play point guard. And he played aggressive. He attacked. He made some good passes. But the thing with him is, you can tell sometimes he tries to do a little too much. And that was a theme for multiple players. And that's what you'll see in the summer league at times. It's just guys trying to do too much, because that's just naturally how I think it goes. Maybe too much of an extra pass. There were times where he could have went for a layup and he made an extra pass. And you're kind of like, I would have rather you just took that shot there. There were times where, obviously when he gets into the paint, because there may be a confidence in his ability, he got stripped a few times, lost the ball a few times. So that's something that obviously needs to be worked on. And maybe that's just him developing another move, another way of ripping through, things of that nature. So I think that in and of itself is something else to look at when you talk about Nikola and what he can do. But overall, I mean, you kind of saw some good things from him tonight that make you feel like, okay, there is something you can work. Because one of the big questions with him is he going back overseas for another year, or is he going to stay in Atlanta and go to the Skyhawks? That's the big question with him. He hasn't officially signed yet with the Atlanta Hawks, so this summer league is going to help them get an idea of, does he need to be over there another year? Does he need to be able to come to the Skyhawks and let him develop here? That's going to be an interesting question for Hawks front office to figure out. He had 7 points tonight, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block tonight. Also needs to work on his free throw shooting, 3 of 7 from the field tonight. So definitely needs to improve that if possible. I also want to touch on Mohamed Gueye. He's the big name from the last year's rookie class that played in this game. Obviously, with Seth Lundy out and Cody Buffkin out as well. Mo Gueye had a very up and down game, I'd say, tonight. The one thing about Mo Gueye, and as much as excited I am about him, tonight is just a reiteration a little bit to me of some of the concerns that you could have going with him. Is that, like we've said multiple times, he doesn't have a lot of experience playing basketball. He hasn't played basketball since he was 6. I want to say he has like 5-6 years of like basketball experience or something, maybe a little bit more, but obviously not a lot. And so I feel like when you watch him play, you can still see how erratic he plays. And I think you saw that tonight. He was on the ground a lot tonight. Now, obviously, he got some foul calls. You know what I'm saying? That helped him out. But you can kind of see the up and downness. You see some really good things, and then you see some really bad things. You'll see an air ball here, and he'll hit a 3 here, and then he'll block a shot here, and then he'll just lose the ball and not finish plays. And I think that's the thing, I think, with Mo Gueye that's going to be interesting for the Atlanta Hawks. I know some people, and I've said that there's definitely a possibility he could crack the rotation, but there's a chance, again, especially with acquiring a guy like Larry Nance Jr., a veteran that you know can play, a veteran that you know can do things that you want him to do. the Hawks may go with Larry Nance Jr. to start the year at that backup 4 instead of Mo Gueye, just because he is a very up and down player. Mo Gueye could come in there and do what he did last year against the Indiana Pacers, but he also could have moments where he just loses the ball, seems out of control, seems like he's doing too much. And it's just like that's something that Quinn has to weigh when he's making that decision with him, is that do we think can we play him because he brings enough where we can just let him learn through it? Do we go with the veteran because he's trusted and we know that he can play within the scheme better than maybe Mo can play right now just because of the experience factor? These are things that you have to consider. Now, like I said, Mo Gueye tonight did some good things. He was the second leading scorer. He had 17 points in this game. He was aggressive offensively, talked very vocal defensively, which is very big for him. He definitely seems like someone who could be a very big defensive mouthpiece for the team. Obviously, this is summer league, but maybe in the NBA as well. And, 17 points tonight, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, so active hands, an assist, a block. I mean, like I said, he just didn't have the green because he only went 4 of 13 from the field. Now, I will say one of the key things you also had, he had 13 free throw attempts tonight. So he was getting to the line tonight, made 9 of 13. That's about 69%, 70% free throws percentage. And then he also had 4 rebounds in the game. But he had 7 fouls. You get 10 in summer league. So obviously, if this was a regular season game, he would be free with foul out. But overall, I think, like I said, Mo Gueye, up and down game, but you saw something. You saw some good stuff from Mo Gueye tonight. So it's just one of those things where, again, second you've played. How do you come back in the second game of Summer League? Do you play still out of control? Are you still aggressive? You saw him active on breaks. You saw him bringing up the ball at times. So that kind of tells you the Hawks have a lot of confidence in his ability and skill set and what he brings to the table. It's just a matter, like I said, it's just getting the reps, getting the experience, and he still has to grow into his body. He's still looking like a stick out there, and he's put on weight. So that is a very big part of his development, and multiple guys develop on this team. It's just the size and just growing into your body because you're in the league so young and you're trying to get to that point. So I think overall, those are the 3 main guys tonight that people were looking at. And I think they all had their highs and they had their lows tonight, but it's part of it. It's summer league. You're going to see soppy play. You're going to see some really good play as well. It's just letting things grow, letting things continue to go up and see what happens. So nothing to be really too worried about overall, I think, with the team. Also want to give some love. Dylan Windler had 12 points, 8 rebounds tonight. Went 4 or 9 from 3, shot 44%. Obviously, a guy who they believe in his shooting. Don't know what his future is with this team, but a guy who I can see why he's valuable to continue to keep in your development system, whether that's with the Skyhawks or on the actual main roster. Baker had some good minutes tonight. Miles Norris, man. A guy who he shows some flashes. Like, again, I don't know what his ceiling here on the team is, but he showed some good flashes. 9 points, 4 rebounds tonight, 3 block shots. You could kind of see his impact defensively. He was second in plus minus with plus 11 in the game. So again, someone I think they like in their development system, someone they're going to continue to work with. And like I said, he showed some good things tonight. So really someone that I think we can continue to look at. Keaton Wallace, a guy who has really got some legs under him. I've seen some people in the timeline tonight talk about get Keaton a 2-way contract, and it's interesting with him. He's the younger brother of Case and Wallace, if you didn't know. Actually, reverse that. My bad. Keaton is the younger brother of Case and Wallace. My fault. I think I just said that. Whatever. So Keaton, you can see the defensive tenacity that he brings. Did some good things offensively. He is definitely a guy I can see why somebody would want to say, hey, put him on a 2-way. We can do something with him. He's a tenacious guy. He was on a 2-way with the Clippers, and I think he did well over there. A guy who, again, the Hawks have to make a decision. They only have 1 2-way player right now, which is Seth Lundy. They get 2 more. I think you get 3 total 2-way guys. So you got to decide who that's going to be. You got Dylan Windler fighting for that spot. Miles Norris could be fighting for that spot. Obviously, Keaton is fighting for that spot. And then, like I said, Nikola is also fighting for that spot. So you got four guys I just named right there from Summer League that are fighting for that two-way spot. So for those two-way spots. So it'll be interesting again to see, how the Summer League goes, how these guys continue to develop, how these guys continue to get better and try to figure out what's best for them as they continue to grow. And trying to, get to where they want to be. And like I said, try to at least be on the two-way, because at least on the two-way, you have that direct line to being called up to an NBA roster instead of maybe getting a 10-day contract or even an Expedition 10, for certain situations as well. So overall tonight, I think some people may get caught up into the wins and losses. And of course, you're going to see some overreaction to Summer League basketball. I mean, that's kind of how things go. But overall tonight, or whenever you're watching this, because you'll probably watch this tomorrow. In the Summer League game, the first one, like I said, we saw some really good things. One thing also I want to point out is that the rooks and a lot of the guys, they're coachable. That is such, I think, a big thing. And I think that adds into this Hawks DNA that you hear about a lot is the coachability. I think that they really want guys who can be coached. Kobe, coachable player. Gueye, coachable player. I think Seth is a very coachable player. I feel like Risacher, very coachable player. And you may think, well, isn't every coach coachable? Some players takes a little bit more to get them to buy into what a coach wants. These guys seem like they buy in from day one because they know they want to get better, and they know that this coaching staff is invested in their development and their improvement as players in this league so they can make it. And so I think that's going to be something that, could really suit them. And I think that's going to be the fun part if you're really into the development side of things in the NBA, is seeing the growth of guys like Risacher, seeing the growth of guys like Kobe, seeing the growth of guys like Gueye, and and just seeing how they continue to get better. I think that's something that's going to be really fun to watch. And like I said, we just got a taste tonight of some of the guys, what they can do. Some guys that you maybe never even thought could make the roster. Listen, at the end of the day, even the guys who aren't on an actual contract for the roster, they're playing for other teams as well. Other teams are scouting these games, trying to see if there's a team player off the Hawks they may want to poach. So, these guys are all playing for something. And so I think tonight was a good start. Obviously, in general, as competitors, you would like to have a win. But overall, I mean, I think the Hawks did some really good things tonight, and their players did really good things tonight. And I said, it's just another day of development, another day of getting better. So really, really happy and excited to see what we saw tonight. And hopefully they'll continue to improve, develop, and move forward. I believe their next game is Sunday against the Spurs in Summer League action. So that'll be the next time we'll be able to watch these guys play. I think overall, the Hawks feel pretty. I feel like the Hawks probably would say they feel pretty good about how things have gone tonight. I don't know how you guys feel. Tell me how you guys feel. What are your impressions of Risacher, Nikola, Gueye, even anybody else, Miles Norris, Keaton Wallace, all of them? Let me know in the comment section what y'all thought about them tonight and in the game tonight. Talk about some things you may think they need to improve. Some things that you maybe liked. I want to hear all of it. I think this Summer League, is a big evaluation and discussion forum, I believe. No reason to judge, guys. You can be honest. I don't really like this, but I did like this. And I felt like when I asked that question about the first half, that's what I got on my Twitter, was a lot of, well, I like this, but I didn't really like this, but I did like this, and this makes me feel good about him. Because like I said, I think a lot of people are coming around to the Risacher pick, and a lot of people are feeling good about the Risacher pick. And don't forget what I said at the beginning of the pod. Arisha Elites, let me know if that is something y'all can get behind, or do I need to kill it and never say it again? Y'all can be honest. It won't hurt my feelings at all. So definitely got to see about that. But I think we're going to go ahead now and wrap up this podcast. It's midnight here. Haven't done a late pot like this since the season. So, but luckily I have a lot of energy right now. So that's definitely good. But before I go, guys, like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube, definitely subscribe to the channel. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. So appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing your boys some love. Also, if you're listening to audio, definitely leave a rating and a review on the podcast so more Hawks fans can watch this, or just fans of hoop can watch the pod or listen to the pod as well. And like I said, guys, we'll see what happens after the next game on Sunday against the San Antonio Spurs, with the Atlanta Hawks play in their second summer league game. But overall, it's your boy Bryce Lewis. See you next time.